Good day, everyone,
I'm Pacifico Jesus C. Cabrera.
I am John Paul C. de la Torre.
and I'm Mark Raymond C. Tanige. For this video presentation, we're here today to present about document surrogates.
First, let us define what is abstract. An abstract is a narrative description of a document, which may include pertinent data and occasionally critical documents. It is also a short summary of completed research. It is intended to describe the work without going into great detail. Therefore, abstract should be described as briefly and concisely as possible.
Now, for the definition of information, they are facts extracted from data. They are knowledge obtained from investigation, study, or instruction as defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. They are to be told, read, or otherwise communicated. Information is essential to almost everything we do.
Next, what a document means is a record or evidence which is not confined only to written and printed materials like books, texts, journals, maps, diagrams, but also non-print such as machine-readable records, transpires, audio tapes, videotapes, three-dimensional objects, specimens, etc. Documents can also be subject to abstracting. Historically speaking, a document was a piece of paper with information on it. But the term definition has since expanded to cover information stored in any medium, tangible as well as electronic.
Meanwhile, document surrogates are abridged, concise, brief, and representations or substitutions of the original objects or documents, which includes oftentimes metadata.
Now, for the importance of each, we go first with the abstract. An abstract is the first thing that the reader will read, and it helps a reader decide if he or she is interested in reading your entire publication. The topic or issue should be stated briefly and precisely in the abstract, followed by a description of the research technique and methodology, the significant findings, and the conclusions reached. Abstracts are used to help libraries catalog publications based on the keywords that appear in them.
Information, on the other hand, plays a critical part in almost everything we do. We always receive information every day from books, newspapers, news uses, computers, the web, phones, and so on. Being informed every day on what's happening in our surroundings builds our knowledge, awareness. It opens our minds to different perspectives and new experiences.
The importance of documents is critical to reducing risk as much as possible. Documentation is a powerful tool for avoiding lawsuits and complaints. Consent and expectations are better ensured with documentation. It aids in telling the story of decisions made and how you or the client react to various situations. Documentation is necessary for monitoring all your processes, how they work, as well as each step that you take towards your objectives.
Lastly, for document surrogates, the users, when conducting a search or browsing in the digital library, they are frequently presented with lists or displays that give a brief description of the digital objects themselves, including bibliographies. Documents are listed according to metadata attributes such as date for pure Boolean ranking. The document list typically contains the document's title and a subset of relevant metadata, such as the article's date, source, and length. A numerical score or percentage is frequently displayed alongside the title in systems with statistical ranking, where the number reflects a computed degree of match or probability of relevance. Let's look at the different types of document surrogates.
Let us now discuss what are the types of document surrogates. First, we have the annotation. They are a brief explanation of a document, or its contents and annotations are usually no longer than 2 or 3 sentences. It is added after a citation in a bibliography to describe or explain the content or messages of the work cited, or to comment on it. Here is an example of an annotation.
Second is the extract. An extract is one or more lengthy quotation from a book or other work set within the main text of another work, usually intended and sometimes printed in distinguished type. When printed in the same type size as the text and without indentation, an extract is enclosed with quotation marks and preceded and followed by a blank line. Also, extracts are one or more portions selected to represent the whole. To give you an idea, here is an example of extract.
Third is the summary. The summary is a brief statement expressing the general substance or overall idea of work, or its salient points. It goes over its main points, findings, and conclusions. A summary is usually given at the end. Here is one example of a summary.
For the fourth one, the abridgment is a shortened version or edition of a written work that preserves the overall meaning and manner of presentation of the original, but omits the less important passages of text and usually any illustration, notes, and appendix. In preparing the abridgment, it is often prepared by a person other than the original author or editor. Here is an example of an abridgment.
Next, the fifth is synopsis, which is a concise written description of a plot of a long narrative work like novel, play, opera, movie, epic poem, etc., to giving a quick, orderly overview of the whole. The synopsis is usually prepared by a person other than the author. So here is an example of synopsis.
Sixth, for terse literature, it is a condensation of the original work. This is done by using statements that are highly abbreviated to encapsulate the major points. Here is an example of a terse literature.
For the seventh, paraphrase is a detailed restatement of a text, passage, or work giving the meaning in another form. Basically, a paraphrase is one's rendition of the information expressed by someone else, and it is presented in a new form. Here is an example of a paraphrase text.
Next, introduction. It is the first section of your book or research paper. It does not provide data about methods, results, or conclusions, but instead, it provides the background of the subject matter and explains the hypothesis and what you attempted to discover or issues that you wanted to resolve. They are to be placed at the introduction part. Let me show you the example of introduction.
Meanwhile, number 9 is the preface, prologue, and foreword. They are both similar to each other. They both serve as an introductory statement before proceeding to the contents of the book or material. Here is an example of it.
Lastly, the 10th one, the table of contents. A table of contents is an organized listing of your documents, chapters, sections, and often figures clearly labeled by page number. Furthermore, it is the reader wants to proceed to a particular chapter or section. The reader can track it down using the table of contents, which can be found at the beginning of the book. Here is an example of a table of contents.
Therefore, documenting information properly will not only give us the knowledge that we need every day and contribute to the daily activities, but also it shall help us understand with convenience and conciseness with what we are reading, hearing, and interpreting so that there is more time to everything.
Here are the references we used in our presentation.
That is all for our presentation on document surrogates. I hope you learned something new in this presentation. Thanks for watching and have a great day.